Welcome to Entrepreneurial Genius, the podcast where spiritually conscious entrepreneurs get a grip on their business, their health, their money, their relationships, and their life. And now, here's your host, Paul.
Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneurial Genius podcast. I'm Paul Montalongo, your host, and today's guest is Lisa Chastain, author of this book right here. Girl, Get Your Shit Together. #1 best-selling author, Lisa Chastain. By the way, do you have to say it like that? Girl, get your shit together. It's just so much fun to say it like that, right?
Yeah,
Have
there's
you
an
got
accent for sure.
Of course. You know, on the accent too? Yeah,
Yeah.
because I just moved to Austin, right? So I'm getting kind of a Texas accent with me. But anyway, girl, get your shit together. Are you getting any pushback on this title?
I do, from two different subsets of people. Originally, when I did my market research about the title, I tested it, and anyone over 50 was a little iffy about it. They were like, I won't have that in my household. Yeah, you. And then men, because they were a little hurt that I was just writing specifically to women.
Oh. Okay, so as a member of the previous two groups that you just referred to, right? I like saying, girl, get y'all shit together. And by the way, what would you call a man's book? Man, get y'all poo-poo together? I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know. I don't know what guys say to themselves. That's definitely what women say to themselves when they're in a rut. But what
Really?
is that? Yeah.
Okay. I did not know that. So what's the story here? I mean, like, why write a book? Who's this book for? Why the title? Like, what brought you to this point to write a book that actually has become a #1 bestseller? And I understand, first of all, you were on Oprah, or in Oprah magazine, I should say, right? Oprah magazine? And you've been on
Entrepreneur.
Forbes, Oprah, Entrepreneur. Anything else I need to throw out there?
Not Forbes yet.
Not Forbes? Where did I see that? That's okay. That's all right. Good list, though. So congratulations all the heck. But what's the story here? How did you come to this book?
All right. So typically I work with the millennial woman who makes great money, but she has little to show for herself. And I haven't always done that. My first career was in higher education. In 2011, I left the University of Nevada, Las Vegas as the director of advising for the Honors College. So I was working with the cream of the crop of millennials in Las Vegas and all over the world. And when I left the university, I said, okay, now what? I had a major life meltdown, which I'm happy to share about, and I do in my book. And I had to ask the important question of what the heck am I doing with my life, and what purpose do I want to serve on this planet? Mm-hmm. So after doing my own digging, I said, I really would love to help impact people and the world with money, because really it makes the world go round, and it's the one thing we all have in common. And I did what most people do who want to help people with money. I became a financial advisor. So I got my Series 65, started working with a high net worth firm, knew that was going to be some way, pathway to wealth for myself as well, but ultimately failed as a financial advisor, wasn't happy working with pre-retirees. And I went back to my roots. I said, I want to make a difference with millennials. I think they need more help now than ever with their money. They want help with their money. And so I hired a business coach, started branding myself, started creating a money coaching program and system. And here I am today, 2 years later, with a best-selling book and really preaching the message to women saying, hey, get your shit together, and I'm going to teach you how.
Nice. So do women have the same attachment to money that men do? You know, men, like, we put our self-esteem and our bank account in the same bucket. And if you know, that's how, a lot of times that's how we identify ourselves and how we attach our self-worth to it. Women?
Not necessarily. We do have self-worth conversations, which are reflected in our bank account. So women, if we have low self-esteem, we'll see low financial results. But our attachment to money is security, more so than self-worth. That when we have money, we feel secure. When we don't have money, we don't feel secure. And the lack of understanding of how to deal with money, because women are much more emotional and in the way that they make decisions with their money. I think guys are much more logical and are much more willing to take risk. and women aren't designed that way. So I have to speak to them differently about money, which is why my book is really about the emotional life of their vision and what they want in the world, and then they can start making new choices.
Do you find women that have a higher risk tolerance have more money?
Women with a higher risk tolerance have more money. That's a great question. I would say, looking at the women that I work with, absolutely. I have my clients who have a lower relationship with risk. And then I have my own mastermind that I'm a part of with women that are making six figures and beyond. And we definitely have a much different relationship with risk.
Interesting. And where does this okay, so why is it that women have this, since the book is about for girls, get your shit together. We already did that, right? So why is it that women have this different, I mean, aside from we're different in the species, right? Why is there a difference in the way women view money, their beliefs about money, their approach to money? Why the difference?
It's a loaded question. I think we could be here for 10 hours pontificating back and forth about it. I think that what it really boils down to is, one, we're not taught about money universally, but also we're not really raised in a conversation that we will be the breadwinners in the same way that men are. Culturally, that's not supported with women. And I think that we're in transition with that, but we just haven't caught up with it.
Do you think the millennials were taught differently than, say, people my age? Because I'm in the baby boomer, right?
I don't know.
I'm on the young side of the baby boomer. Let's just make that. Anyway, are they taught differently? The millennials are?
I don't know if they were taught differently, but they sure as heck think differently.
Okay. How so?
Well, I think, and I've actually had the privilege of being in a room with baby boomers having this conversation. And baby boomers were raised in a workforce that had much more longevity to it, where they stayed in careers and jobs for 20 years, 30 years. They had pensions and more security associated with their jobs. And many baby boomer women didn't work or have high-powered positions that millennial women know that they're going to have today. And also millennials, and one of the reasons that I jumped in to support the millennials is they saw their entire worlds blow up in 2008 while they were in college and aspiring for careers. So their attachment to security in the workforce is not the same. And they know that if they want to retire, they're going to own that conversation. They're not going to rely on a company to make that happen for themselves. And so they're jumping on their own wagon to create financial security today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there a less dependence on a man or the man in their life?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next comment I won't say. All right. So you talk a bunch in the book about accountability.
Yes.
And the accountability factor in managing your money, earning your money, your relationship with money, growing your money. Why is this so important to women, the accountability factor?
Well, women have to hold themselves accountable for the results that they're creating in their lives. So they have to, which I know we've done similar work in emotional intelligence, they have to own their lives and they have to own responsibility for the choices that they're making. But then also I talk about the tribe in the book, because they also need to surround themselves by other people, other women in their lives who will hold them accountable to what they really want and aspire for in their lives. And so when they have a coach or a mentor, someone that cares about them, that wants what they want, that's holding them accountable to living bigger versions of themselves, to being leaders, I believe they thrive. And ultimately, women, we're very compassionate. I believe we'll also change the world, create a more loving, sustainable world.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how, okay, so this thought came in while you were talking. It's like, so in my career, I have had numerous women in very responsible positions in my companies, and I can't think of one that didn't, but I've always found women to be more responsible, more compassionate, more empathetic,
Yes.
actually a different kind of leader, but really, really good leaders in the companies that I've owned, right?
They are.
So, I don't know. Maybe I learned that I know exactly where I learned that. I learned that working for my father, like when I was 21 or 2, he had this key woman that ran a bunch of his work. And so, at the same time, women have to balance all the other stuff, the family, the health, the menu,
The second
the
shift.
children, oh, you call it second shift. Okay. Yeah. That's right. So how do they balance that and still make that money, get their shit together?
I don't believe in the word balance, honestly. I think that it's an idea that there is balance in life. Ultimately, I think they have to stop resisting whatever it is they're resisting in their life so that they can have what they want, and ask for help. Okay, so a superwoman doesn't have to do it all, but somehow there's this thought that we do. And I think that there's no such thing as balance in like you go to work and then you come home and life is perfect. It's about building the right team around you. I personally believe that, and I've had to do that as I've become more successful in my business. I have a 10-year-old son. I'm a single mom. I can't do it alone. And so I think the real balance is, if we can even use that word, is deciding what is important, what the priority is in your life, making choices from those priorities, and involving other people in the process, getting the help that you need, and be willing to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Pay to get your priorities right.
For sure. Yeah. I read an article, it was by Zuckerberg's, I think it was his sister, and she talked about pick 3. And I talked to my clients about this, where if you aspire to be a successful woman, whether it's a business owner or a CEO or a nonprofit ED, whatever it is that you aspire for, there are different aspects of our lives that have to be on the back burner in order for us to get what we really want. And so pick 3: sleep, health, family, career. What are those things that you're going to choose every single day to get you where you want to go? Mm-hmm. And I believe it's not possible for you to try to hold on to all of it. Like for me personally, some of my friends, I've just had to say, I can't see you until next month. It's not going to happen. And I'm willing to do that because I have goals that I want to go after.
It's not personal. It's just a priority.
It's just a priority.
Although a priority can be deemed as personal sometimes, right? So it's not personal. Right? No, I get it. I get it. As you move up, you'll find that there's some friends you'll leave behind. So, yes. What's the biggest obstacle here? Is it like overload for women? Is it their beliefs, self-esteem? What's the biggest obstacle to women really getting their money situation right?
Making themselves a priority.
Making themselves a priority.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's okay. From a man's perspective, that doesn't seem too hard to do.
Right.
Right. But from a woman's perspective,
it's very hard.
Very hard. Yeah. And so how do you manage that?
Well, I work
in addition to what you just said about the priorities.
I work with women. I have women who are first generation, meaning their parents immigrated here, and they're wanting to aspire to, they want American woman success, for example, but they are deeply embedded into their family, and they make choices in it's called high context versus low context. It's a high context environment where they don't typically make choices on their own, and they're very much still attached to their grandmother, their mother, their sister, their cousins. They're all in it together. In order for them to have what they want, it will require them to step outside of their comfort zone and separate themselves from the pack.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oftentimes rocking the boat because their family is depending on them. I have a lot of women that I work with that their family is depending on them for childcare and financially. So they have to learn how to prioritize what it is they want, meaning maybe they have to move out of their house. Maybe they have to not see their family as much, and they have to be willing to deal with the emotional repercussions of that.
Interesting. She's Lisa Chastain. She's the #1 best-selling author of this book, Girl, Get Your Shit Together, book about money and how women can get their money and their money life together. So let's talk about some practical aspects here. So a woman doesn't have her shit together with her money. okay, what are the steps that a woman can take immediately to, like, over the next 6 months and then 12 and beyond, to begin to get her financial life in order, and where does she go with that?
Sure. The first three things that I teach my clients, so I do a 6-month mentorship with women, and we spend the first 3 months on these three things. The first one is, which is really boring for women, but we have to do it and embrace it anyway, which is learn how to master our cash flow. The reason that most people end up living paycheck to paycheck is that they're not clear on how to manage money coming in and going out. And they're not clear on, especially for people, people who have steady income, 2-3 paychecks a month, they're not clear paycheck to paycheck what's coming in and what's going out. And so I teach them how to manage.
They don't have an awareness, is what you're saying.
They're not aware.
Okay.
They know they make money, and when they see money in their account, they spend it, use it, whatever. But there's no strategy or rhythm to it.
Okay, that's the first step. Mm-hmm.
Organize their money, systematize their money, so they can actually understand what they're looking at to make decisions. The second thing is they need to track what they're making, what they're spending, and what they're keeping every single month. So that's a little different than cash flow, because the money's going to roll over from paycheck to paycheck and all of that. But with their strategically tracking the difference each month, then they can start to see patterns, and we can start to shift behaviors toward saving more, which is what they need to do. The third thing is I teach them how to track their net worth. They have to get used to seeing their net worth, and that will motivate them to watch it grow. That's to become a wealthy person, it has to grow, and it has to grow exponentially. So they can't do any of that unless they master their cash flow, track it, and then see what their net worth is month to month.
Yeah, that's, if you're going to grow your income, if you're going to grow your wealth, you got to look at it multiple times a day for a variety of reasons, right?
Yes.
And by the way, guys, if you're listening, these are great steps for you too, right? Master your cash flow, master your expenses, and go, what's left over, and then your net worth. So, yeah, which made me think, okay, so do you have specific direction that you give women in terms of how to grow their net worth once they get to that point?
Absolutely. It depends on where they're at when they come in with me. The first one is to pay down debt and have a clear strategy for that. So with debt, what most people end up doing is they get a chunk of money and then they want to throw it all on debt. Get a chunk of money and throw it all on debt. The tax refund is a perfect example of this. They might get a good sized refund and they want to throw it all toward debt. I help them create a strategy about paying down debt so that they don't burn themselves out, so that they can enjoy their life at the same time. Once that's in play and the debt gets paid down, then it's about learning how to strategically fill savings buckets for different things they want to save for. Once they learn how to save and they've got some systems in place for one, I call it the oh shit fund. Dave Ramsey gives the same advice: save $1,000 so you're not constantly using a credit card or borrowing money. And then you need to strategically save for vacations and start putting away into your 401k if your company has that. Those are some other basics. And then we look at the bigger picture. I know you're in real estate or have been in real estate, and we look at how are other ways that you're going to build wealth, because you're not going to do it saving $200-$300 a month. It's just not going to happen. It could. I mean, I'm privileged enough to work with 25-year-olds where if they start saving and they keep it with compound interest, it'll grow over time. But we're talking that they want to be millionaires. Well, what are other strategies to become millionaire other than saving monthly? And real estate,
saving your money for the next 35 years in hopes of having $1 million, right? So, yeah, and the economy right now just supports everything there is about investments of all sorts. Real estate, of course, because that's my deal, right? But of all sorts, right? So, those are all really, really good strategies. In your book, I couldn't help but notice this chapter, the chapter on haters.
Yeah.
Hater. Who's a hater? Why a hater? And what do you do about haters?
I just use that word to get their attention.
Got my attention.
Yeah. it's a millennial kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But I would say the broader definition in the book is anyone who isn't really supporting you at the highest level. These could be people, especially when it comes to finances. I explain this in my book, where maybe it's family members who adore you. So they're not necessarily hating on you, but they want to give you advice that they know nothing about. And I caution my readers to really look at the tribe that they're surrounding themselves with and be mindful about who they're getting advice from. And there's a lot that happens as you move forward financially. And I know you've experienced this, I've experienced this, where my tribe has had to change because the people who were once in my life don't necessarily understand where I'm headed or what I want. They don't know how to support me. It drags or weighs me down. And it's a conversation with my women saying, hey, be willing to lose what you have to gain what you want, especially if you have these bigger dreams. You need to start moving and leveling up with people who are on the same path. And it's okay if someone in your past or current life doesn't know how to support you. I had to get a divorce. Does he hate me? No, but it wasn't helping me get where I needed to go. It was a toxic marriage. I had to be willing to let that go. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, I've experienced that, like, along my path. My path's been a little bit longer than yours, but I just, people don't get the vision. They don't get the strategies behind the vision. They also, what we talked about earlier, they don't get the risk taking.
They don't.
And it's like, save, be comfortable. And that's okay for them. I find that's their journey. That's fine. That's okay. But, if you're a person who's a go-getter and you're trying to get your stuff together,
right?
You have to put your foot down and make some decisions, right? So, okay. So what's next for your women? Mostly millennials, right? Right. What do you see for them in society and personally? And then what do you see for yourself in society and personally?
For my clients specifically, I see a group of women who are in love with their lives. They know what they want. They know how to take the right steps to get it and enroll the right support to get it. They are building their own empires using whatever means. I have one client, she's 25 years old. She's in real estate. She wants to start buying apartment complexes, that she feels empowered to be able to do that they're running successful businesses, that they're involved in their communities, that they are living at the highest level possible for themselves and what they want in their lives. For me, I believe that the momentum I've created with this message will continue to evolve as the women evolve. I see more books and my own financial empire to inspire women to have it all, whatever that means for them. And also to have healthy relationships with themselves. That starts with a healthy relationship with their money, healthy marriages, healthy families, healthy communities. And I work in a couple of organizations already that are international. So for me, I see myself going all over the world to teach these concepts.
Nice. Very, very nice. Going back just a little bit to the formula that you put together, you've got a complimentary gift for our listeners. You want to tell them about that?
I do. This is a really cool, it's very simple and it's easy, and it's a great way to check in whether or not you are on your own path to becoming wealthy, because you have to have the right mindset coupled by the right behaviors. And my financial future prediction test will help you check in and see, one, are you on your path? And two, if there's a gap, what is it specifically? So you know where the work needs to be done. So
I love that. Yeah, thank you very much. I love that. We all want to know how to predict our financial future, Yes. So I think that's great. So the link to the gift that Lisa is going to give, keep your financial future prediction test. The link to that test, the prediction test, will be in the description of the show and in the show notes below. And so tap on that link and get your complimentary gift from Lisa. We'll also put in the link where do you want it? Amazon? Amazon, is that okay? Okay, so we'll put a link in the show show notes of where to get her book, Girl Get Your Shit Together, on Amazon. and support Lisa in her work, and that's great. And if you know any millennial, or if you are a millennial woman, please get them this book. That's really, really great. So yeah, so what's next then for, well, I thought about this and I debated on whether or not to talk to you about this, so I'm going to do it because by golly, I'm a risk taker, right?
Me too. I love it.
So I work extensively with men in men's groups and doing emotional intelligence, in addition to what you know about in other groups, right? And so one of the topics that we frequently talk about is our relationship with women and our relationship with women in the world. And in the media over the last 2 years or so, there's been what I feel is a discussion about disrespect for women, which of course I hate to hear, and I hate that idea, right? So how should women, how do they feel empowered when they hear these kinds of divisive discussions in the media and out in public? What really is the stance that a strong, powerful woman wants to take in the light of these really sick discussions? But go ahead.
Well, first and foremost, I have to say that I love men. And what I mean by that is that I have been privileged enough to be around amazing, loving, kind, genuine men who are advocates for women. And with the media in particular, that's its job, is to divide. And we have to, as women, be strong enough to stand up and say, that's not true. What is saying, okay, so certain things happen. We all know about what Trump has said. Trump doesn't represent the majority of men out there. He is one kind of man. And so we have to be smart enough to know the difference. And for women, I think that means that we stand up and we say, for me, I'm committed to having loving, collaborative relationships with men. And I think that the only way to make any of this work is to stand together and not position against one another. I don't believe in positional leadership. And I think the only way to make this world a better place is to give out the hand and say, let's work together. Let's figure this out together, not fight against you, not fight. That doesn't work. It never has.
Well said. Women, stand up for yourself, as men do as well. So she's Lisa Chastain. The name of her book is Girl, Get Your Shit Together, #1 best-selling author. The link to this it will be in the show notes to Amazon to buy her book, as well as a link for her financial future prediction test. Any questions, go to lisachastain.com. And would you want to give an email out?
Sure. It's easy. Lisa@lisachastain.com. You also go to my contact me page on my website.
Lisa@lisachastain.com. She's all over Facebook and social media, so join in the conversation there. Listen, I want to thank you very, very much. I enjoyed reading the book. Very good read. Very good. So congratulations, and congratulations on picking up a lot of momentum with it and pace, and the good work that you're doing with women of all ages, and particularly our lovely millennials. All right?
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks. Have a great day. So there, Paul Montalongo, the Entrepreneurial Genius Show. And stay tuned for another episode. We'll come back soon.
Thank you for listening to Entrepreneurial Genius. To learn more, visit paulmontalongo.com. If you've enjoyed the episode, please remember to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. And please share with your friends. Thanks again, and we'll be back soon with a new episode.